is always obvious is what, if you remember in the days, early days of COVID, everyone was trying to get a head around, which is the reproductive number,
Yeah.
which is if someone gets it, how quickly can they transmit it, and how many people can they transmit it to, which is a key factor in determining how large the outbreak is going to be, number one.
Mm.
Then the second thing is how quickly countries who pick samples report it, number two. You realize that up till now, if you look at COVID, we're being told even we are not too sure when the first, what we call the index case happened, or even whether it happened in China.
Yeah.
People assume. You realize that with monkeypox, immediately it came and the first cases were picked in the UK, the red flag was raised that there was monkeypox about. And if you look between that time, the spread hasn't been as exponential as it was with COVID, where you get one case, then you have 10, then you have hundreds, then soon you're in the thousands.
Yes.
Why? Because the reproductive number is very, very low. The second thing is that though you still produce droplets with monkeypox, it is not airborne. So you realize that Dr. Bwaji said you have to have direct human-to-human contact.
Okay.
And so it is, even though if someone, say, breathes onto a solid surface or something and is infected with monkeypox and you touch it, you could infect yourself, the chances of the droplets suspending in the air longer for you to breathe it in is lower. So that is another plus.
Okay.
And then finally, the smallpox vaccine is effective against monkeypox.
Oh, okay.
Which we didn't have that tool when we're dealing with COVID, because it was a novel disease. This disease has been around since 1959, the monkeypox we're talking about.
Sure.
So all these make it very, very easier to contain, especially when you know that it is not contagious until the first signs of infection, when the person is symptomatic, compared with COVID, where the person starts sometimes transmitting in the latent period, the time between when they get infected and their first symptoms. So all these things make it more relaxing for me to deal with monkeypox than to deal with COVID. And that is why, though I am happy that the signals are being raised, I think more education and more awareness is the way forward, rather than being too anxious about the disease coming. Because when it came, I knew it was going to come to Ghana. It was only a matter of time.
Really?
Yes, I did. I did, because the travel times across the globe now are only 6 hours. So if someone has an infection in the UK, they could be in Ghana in 6 hours. Likewise, if someone has an infection in Ghana, they could be in the United States in 9 hours. If you listen to Dr. Bwaji, he said that one of the cases in Ghana was actually picked in the United States.
Exactly.
Yes. So with global travel reinstated and the need for blunt objects like, border closures, lockdowns, not necessary. It was only a matter of time for it to surface in other countries. And so that is why I knew that it was going to happen. But I wasn't worried, because you don't just shut down a country simply because a disease reared its head. And that's why I knew it was going to come to Ghana.
How fatal is it, monkeypox?
Well, if you look at the global data, it has not been known to kill a lot. In fact, this current outbreak, because it's not even gotten to the level of an epidemic, it's what we call sporadic outbreaks in different countries. Yeah. This outbreak hasn't killed anybody. People are getting infected, but it's not killed anybody. But the only problem is when you get it, you have to quarantine for longer. Now we know that with COVID, you can quarantine for 5 to 7 days and it's fine, because the virus has mutated. With monkeypox, it's 3 weeks. So those are the different things. And that is why preventative measures, and for me, not a lot has changed, Winston. Not a lot has changed, because the tools to prevent monkeypox are the same tools virtually to prevent COVID. And apart from the vaccine that has come in and testing, these tools have been the same things, the bubonic plague in the 15th century. So not a lot has changed when it comes to managing this disease. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the information we should be pushing, that we need to go into the preventative mindset again. And that's what's important.
So let's get into that preventive mindset. How do we prevent it? What must we do?
Well, you're dealing with a disease that you've been told can rest on solid surfaces and stay there for some time. So you've got to sanitize. That's not rocket science. You've got to wear your nose mask. That's not rocket science. You've got to wash your hands. That's not rocket science. And you have to avoid crowded places if you can. The only difference between COVID and this one is that if you went into a crowded place with monkeypox, it's less likely you get it if you are not in direct contact with the people than you would with, say, swine flu or with COVID. So the key is the mask. And that is what I think we need to be letting people understand, that we seem to have gone off the nose mask. But the nose mask, like I said 2 years ago, and I'll continue to say, has become a mainstay of humankind. Because these, what we call zoonotic diseases, are going to be part and parcel of our society moving forward. If you look, 500 years ago, these outbreaks or new outbreaks happened maybe once every century. And sometimes, if you look at the bubonic plague, it took about 100 years for it to spread. You came to 1918, and those times it lasted 4 years with what you call the Spanish flu. The Hong Kong flu, it was shortening. At the same time, the time differences were shortening. Why? Because as human beings, we wouldn't stop probing the forests in which these viruses live. So they also wouldn't stop living with us. The closer we go to them, the more comfortable they are. And as long as we are going to expand our settlements, as long as we are not going to preserve our forests globally, these things are going to happen. So we need to rather learn to live with them in a containment way. And one of the best tools is the nose mask.
Okay. And talking about nose mask, because that leads us to the second leg of the conversation, COVID-19, because we're beginning to see a rise in the numbers in Ghana, and we're seeing different variants of COVID-19. Professor Awendari has expressed concern. Has told us about what we need to do. What are we not doing right?
Listen, you see, when COVID started, we didn't have vaccines.
Yeah.
And we didn't understand the management of the disease itself. So globally, even in the UK, there are high COVID numbers, not as high as it used to be. But hospitalization and mortalities are low. Why? Because vaccination coverage is very high. The UK has consistently been over its herd immunity threshold. So a lot of people who are testing positive are not testing positive because they are unwell. They are testing positive because maybe they went into hospital for a routine appointment, and as part of the appointment, they need to know your COVID status, and they found out that you've got COVID. The difference between the UK and Ghana, and that's why Professor Awendari is raising the flag, is that our vaccination levels are lower. And people seem to think that because we are not hearing of mortalities, there's no point in getting vaccinated. Secondly, the coverage that's provided by vaccination elapses. So you have to have boosters, and people are not doing that. And therefore, the infections are spreading. The saving grace is that majority of the people who in the first and second wave in Ghana unfortunately passed away were in the middle to upper middle class category who, for one reason or the other, have taken the vaccination seriously. So if you look at our current outbreaks, it's happening in the much younger population.
Sure.
And a lot of parents are very skeptical about getting their kids vaccinated against COVID, because of all the brouhaha there was about vaccination. I tell people that even my 5-year-old son is vaccinated because I don't take chances. But a lot of people are not doing the same. As long as we don't raise our vaccination thresholds, As long as we don't consistently booster, we are going to have these problems because there would always be a latent spread of COVID in the community, even when it becomes an endemic disease. All we need is what we call a super spreader event. And what we mean by a super spreader event, we have the flats now. A lot of people are staying indoors because they cannot go out. You are getting people aggregating. It gives the virus an opportunity to spread. As long as those things continue to happen, as long as we are not vaccinating, then we would have these waves. And that is why we consistently have peaks and troughs. And we are just going through another one, as far as I'm concerned.
Great. So talking about, super spreader events, I mean, now we talk about, how if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, how you can go into places if you're vaccinated. Unfortunately for us, a lot of these areas or places where we can go, they do not check to see or to confirm whether you've been vaccinated or not. So that in itself presents us with a challenge. In the midst of all of these, what measures should be put in place to ensure that we're able to reduce the rate of increase in the number of cases?
Well, like I said, we are in a self-preservation period when it comes to COVID because it's so easy. You see, there are two things happening with COVID at the moment. The variants that are coming are showing themselves not to be as lethal as the first few ones that came, the Deltas and all that. The Omicron seem to be milder, but they spread so quickly because they have a high reproductive number. I mean, you're looking at monkeypox somewhere around 1.2 to Omicron somewhere around 12, 13. That's huge.
Yeah.
But none of them has shown the ability to go through a nose mask. So that answers your question, that please, let's learn to wear the mask. I don't wear the mask if and when I'm in an environment, like in my office space where everyone is vaccinated, everyone is boosted, and everyone is testing routinely. I don't wear a mask. But you never see me in the supermarket without a mask. You never see me, for example, picking my son from school without a mask. Because I know I can't get infected. And because I'm vaccinated, probably I would be asymptomatic and end up spreading it. And these are the things we have to do. We need to become more self-conscious and self-aware because all the three, so to speak, pathogens that are going around that the Ghana Health Service was talking about, all can be stopped simply by following your hygiene protocols and your nose mask. That is all we need to do. And as far as I'm concerned, that is what we need to dram down the throats of our society.
Right. Kwame Sapon-Asiedu, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. We're grateful to you.
Thank you for having me.
Right, so that's Kwame Sapon-Asiedu joining us here on the Super Morning Show, having a conversation about monkeypox and also about rising COVID-19 numbers. So you know what to do when it comes to the monkeypox. Same as the things you'd have to do when it comes to COVID. The only good news, if I could put it that way, is that monkeypox doesn't spread as fast as COVID-19 does. And so just be careful. Make sure that when you're going into public places, you protect yourself. Still to come this morning on the Super Morning Show, the focus is on inflation. The focus is on the average rate of increase in the prices of goods and services that you and I acquire. That's to come after these messages.
On Friday, 24th June 2022, Raven Consulting GA presents Africa Family Business Summit 2022 with a theme Building Resilience in Family Businesses for Continuity. Speakers for this year's summit include Mr. James Mwagi, Sir Sam Esunjuna, Dr. Russell Thackeray, Mrs. Esiri Agbe, Mr. Theodore Albright, Mrs. Kate Kote Papathio, Dr. Moses Akwa, Miss Franca Maria Andal, and your convener, Mr. Dennis Oteng. Remember, the event is on Friday, 24th June 2022. Time, afternoon session 1 p.m. It's an executive workshop with Dr. Russell Thackeray. Evening session 6 p.m. Networking dinner and AFB conference. The venue is the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, Accra. For details of participation and corporate packages, please contact 0509 732 535. Partners ACCA, LaBianca Company Limited, Kempinski Hotel, Apex Human Consult, Other Events. Media partners Joy99.7 FM, Joy Business, Business and Financial Times. This event is powered by Raven Consulting GH.
My first sin was sneaking into the fridge to sip on some Ideal Milk.
My first telephone was 2 empty tins of Ideal Milk connected by a long string.
My first taste of freedom was when I had 1 full tin of Ideal to myself in
Make more beautiful memories with Ideal Milk as we celebrate our 50th anniversary. You can win a brand new car and other exciting prizes when you text the special code behind each Ideal original anniversary label. The more you buy and text, the better your chances. This advert is FDA approved.
I sat up as the pleasant aroma wafted through the cracks in the door and into my living space. Whatever it was, smelled heavenly. I felt my palates open up to receive this very welcome guest. I mean, I had to taste. And as I rolled it around in my mouth, I realized I just loved the texture. And just like that, it was down my throat and giving my body life. I wanted more. Lily Rice does that to me every single time. Thanks, baby, for cooking today.
You're welcome. And as we continue to enjoy our favorite rice, Lily reminds us to observe all COVID-19 safety protocols because COVID-19 is still around. Lily, tasty food, happy family.
This advert is FDA approved.
GSE, Energize for Growth. Join Ghana's preferred investment platform. Experience our 3 exciting markets customized to meet the scale of your idea or business. GSE Main Market, Ghana Alternative Market GACS, Ghana Fixed Income Market GIFM. The GSE provides the platform that helps you mobilize capital for your business to be in the right place. Speak to us or our licensed brokers and we will tell you how. GSE, the preferred platform for investment and raising long-term capital.
Arthur Legacy Sports and the Italian Embassy present the Cultural Trade Ball All-Stars game at the Accra Sports Stadium on Friday, June 17 from 5 p.m. A spectacular evening of football, music. The All-Stars game will parade top international stars like Andre Ayew, Felix Afena-Jan, and many more. Get your e-tickets by dialing *713*33*00# or send #00# to 0242 426427 and follow the prompt to buy your tickets and be a part of this football fiesta. Friday, 17th June from 5 p.m. at the Accra Sports Stadium. Be there or be squared.
Coffee in your cup and Joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.